Listen closely. The greatest warnings never arrive as noise. They arrive as silence. I am Shi Heng Yi, and today's message is not about waiting for a sign in the sky, a date on a calendar, or an event outside yourself. It is about something far more demanding: preparation. In ancient Shaolin wisdom, preparation was never passive. Monks were not trained to wait for fate. They were trained to shape themselves long before fate arrived. When life finally tested them, nothing felt sudden, nothing felt overwhelming. They were already aligned. This is a lesser-known truth. Unprepared minds turn opportunity into chaos. Even blessings can feel heavy when the inner world is disordered. History shows this again and again. Empires fell not because of enemies, but because discipline disappeared before danger arrived. In this video, you will learn why true preparation begins internally, not externally. You will understand how Shaolin teachings approach responsibility, clarity, and self-mastery in moments that appear ordinary, yet carry hidden weight. You will also uncover why ancient masters viewed calmness as a strategic advantage, not a spiritual luxury. Stay until the end, because the final lesson reveals why preparation is not something you switch on when pressure appears. It is a daily condition of the mind. Miss this, and the entire message loses its power. This is not fear-based wisdom. This is grounded truth, quiet, demanding, transformative. Welcome to Shaolin Divine Flow. This channel is dedicated to ancient wisdom, self-discipline, and inner mastery for the modern world. Subscribe and continue this path with us. Time has never commanded power on its own. It only reflects the state of the one who observes it. In ancient traditions, dates were never treated as fate carved in stone. They were mirrors, a way to pause the rushing mind and return attention inward. When people cling to numbers as predictions, they give away their responsibility. But when they see time as a reminder, they reclaim it. Shaolin teachings do not ask what will happen on a certain day. They ask who you are becoming by the time that day arrives. A calendar does not decide your readiness. Your discipline does. Throughout history, moments were marked not to create fear, but awareness. A harvest season reminded farmers to prepare the soil long before crops were needed. A change in weather reminded warriors to strengthen the body before winter arrived. The moment itself was neutral. The meaning came from preparation. 14 December is no different. It is not a promise of change. It is an invitation to observe yourself without excuses, to slow down and notice whether your habits are aligned with your values, whether your actions reflect the future you claim to seek. Many wait for transformation to announce itself. Shaolin wisdom teaches the opposite. Transformation is quiet. It unfolds while no one is watching. The mind is trained in repetition. The body is shaped in routine. The spirit is refined in silence. When a date appears important, the question is not what will happen then. The question is what you are neglecting now. Are you strengthening your focus or feeding distraction? Are you practicing restraint or rehearsing impulse? A checkpoint is not a threat. It is a gift. It allows reflection before correction becomes painful. Those who pause intentionally rarely need to be stopped by force. Time simply holds the mirror. The answer is already within you. The deepest guidance is never loud. It arrives without urgency, without pressure, without force. In ancient Shaolin understanding, the divine was never something to chase outside oneself. Guidance was not expected to descend dramatically. It emerged quietly when the noise of desire settled and the mind became clear enough to listen. This is why silence was treated as training, not absence. The voice people search for has no sound. It appears as knowing. A calm certainty that does not argue, does not panic, and does not need approval. When the mind is disciplined, this clarity rises naturally, like a still lake reflecting the sky without distortion. Those who rush through life rarely hear it. Speed creates noise. Noise creates confusion. Confusion is mistaken for complexity, when in truth it is only a lack of stillness. Ancient practitioners understood this well. They slowed their movements not to become passive, but to become precise. Every action was intentional. Every breath was observed. Daily discipline was the doorway. rising before distraction, training the body to obey the mind, training the mind to remain steady under pressure. Over time, awareness sharpened. Decisions became simpler, not easier, but cleaner. Less debate, less regret. This inner voice does not command. It guides, it does not promise comfort. It offers alignment. When followed, life may still be difficult, but it no longer feels divided. Action and conscience move together. Ignoring it does not make it disappear. It becomes quieter, buried under impulse and habit. But listening daily strengthens it. Like a muscle trained through repetition, awareness grows more responsive with consistent practice. Ancient wisdom teaches that divine guidance is not something granted to a chosen few. It is available to all who create the conditions to hear it. Stillness, discipline, patience. These are not spiritual decorations. They are requirements. When the mind settles, clarity speaks, not loudly, but unmistakably. Comfort has never been the teacher. It only delays the lesson. Ancient Shaolin training was built on a simple understanding: growth requires pressure, and pressure must be chosen before it arrives uninvited. Those who wait for life to become difficult before changing are always late. Those who change early remain steady when difficulty appears. Personal mastery begins the moment comfort stops being the priority. Not because comfort is evil, but because it weakens awareness. When the body is always relaxed and the mind always entertained, discipline fades quietly. Strength is not lost in a single moment, it erodes through ease. This is why Shaolin practitioners train daily, regardless of mood or circumstance. Cold mornings were not avoided. Repetition was not negotiated. The discipline itself was preparation, not the result of crisis. By the time pain arrived, it was familiar. It no longer shocked the system. Training before pain demands training is an act of respect for the future self. It says, "I will not leave you unprepared." This mindset changes everything. Resistance becomes routine. Effort becomes normal. Difficulty loses its power to overwhelm. When pressure comes unexpectedly, most people panic because they are meeting it for the first time. Their nervous system is untrained. Their mind searches for escape. The warrior does not panic, not because they are fearless, but because the environment feels known. The body has been here before. The mind has learned to stay. Ancient wisdom did not glorify suffering. It glorified readiness. Training was not meant to create pain, but to remove surprise. When surprise disappears, clarity remains. Change before comfort is not about rejecting ease forever. It is about earning peace through discipline. Comfort that comes after mastery does not weaken, it restores. This is the quiet law of preparation. Choose discipline while life is calm, so calm remains when life is not. Restlessness is a signal, not a strength. It reveals a mind that is moving faster than its awareness. Ancient Shaolin teachings placed stillness at the center of readiness, not as an escape from the world, but as the foundation for engaging with it clearly. A restless mind reacts, a still mind responds. The difference determines outcomes long before action begins. Stillness was trained with the same seriousness as physical strength. Long hours of standing, sitting, breathing, not to appear calm, but to become unshakable. When the body learns to remain steady, the mind follows. When the breath settles, thoughts lose their urgency. In moments of pressure, decisions are made in seconds. If the mind is chaotic, those seconds become mistakes. Stillness cleans perception. It removes excess emotion, unnecessary fear, and scattered intent. What remains is simplicity, and simplicity is speed without panic. This is why monks did not rush their movements. Slowness was not weakness, it was refinement. Every step carried awareness. Every strike emerged from balance. Control was visible not in aggression, but in restraint. Stillness is often misunderstood as passivity. In reality, it is readiness without tension, a bow drawn but not released, energy gathered, not wasted. When action is required, it emerges naturally, without hesitation or force. A calm body signals safety to the nervous system. A steady breath prevents the mind from collapsing inward. These are not spiritual ideas. They are practical disciplines refined over centuries of observation. When chaos enters the environment, the untrained mirror it, the trained remain unchanged. This is not indifference, it is mastery. Stillness allows you to meet life directly, without distortion, to see clearly, to choose deliberately, to act without regret. Control does not announce itself. It is felt in silence long before movement begins. The greatest battle has never been against the world. It has always been within. Ancient wisdom understood that circumstances are unstable by nature. Weather changes, people change, fortune changes. Attempting to control these forces only creates frustration. Shaolin teachings focused elsewhere on the one element that could be trained with certainty, the self. Preparation was never about predicting outcomes. It was about shaping responses. When anger arises, does it take control, or is it observed and released? When fear appears, does it paralyze, or does it sharpen awareness? These inner reactions determine victory or collapse long before events unfold. Anger, fear, and impatience were not viewed as flaws, but as signals, messages pointing toward untrained areas of the mind. Instead of suppressing them, practitioners studied them. Where do they arise? What feeds them? What weakens them? Over time, emotional storms lost their authority. Through daily discipline, reactions became slower. Space formed between impulse and action. In that space lived freedom. Not freedom from difficulty, but freedom from being ruled by it. This is why external power was never the goal. Strength without self-control was considered dangerous. Speed without awareness was considered reckless. True mastery was quiet, invisible to others, undeniable to the one who possessed it. When the self is mastered, circumstances change their role. They no longer command behavior, they simply present information. A harsh word becomes sound, not insult. A setback becomes direction, not defeat. Pressure becomes instruction. Ancient practitioners trained under discomfort intentionally. Hunger, fatigue, repetition, not to harden the heart, but to soften reactivity. When the mind remains steady under strain, life loses its ability to provoke chaos. Control over the self does not eliminate emotion, it refines it. Anger becomes clarity, fear becomes alertness, impatience becomes urgency guided by wisdom. Circumstances always test, but they only dominate those who have not prepared within. Discipline was never meant to be harsh, it was meant to be sincere. In ancient Shaolin understanding, discipline was not enforced through fear or obligation. It was chosen as an offering. Each action, repeated daily, became a form of devotion, not to a distant idea, but to the cultivation of one's own character. Rising before the world stirs was not about superiority, it was about clarity. The early hours carry fewer distractions. The mind is quieter. Training in this space teaches respect for time and intention. Each morning becomes a renewal of commitment. The body was trained not for display, but for alignment. Strength was built to support stillness. Flexibility was developed to prevent rigidity of thought. Movement was practiced as meditation, where attention rested fully in the present moment. Guarding the mind was considered the highest discipline. Thoughts were observed, not obeyed blindly. Negative patterns were noticed early, before they took root. This required patience. Discipline was not perfection, it was consistency. Prayer, in this sense, was not spoken, it was lived. Each repetition, each controlled breath, each moment of restraint expressed belief more honestly than words ever could. Faith was measured by action, not declaration. Ancient practitioners understood that motivation fades, emotion shifts, only discipline remains reliable. When devotion is built into routine, it no longer depends on mood. The practice continues regardless of comfort or resistance. This daily structure created stability. The mind learned trust. The body learned obedience. Over time, effort softened into rhythm. What once felt demanding became natural. Discipline, practiced this way, does not restrict freedom. It creates it. It removes inner chaos, so attention can rest where it matters. When actions reflect values consistently, faith stops being an idea. It becomes a way of living quietly reaffirmed each day. True messages are rarely delivered with fanfare. They arrive quietly, often disguised as routine or ordinary moments. Ancient Shaolin wisdom teaches that life is not a series of events to endure, but a series of responsibilities to accept. The hidden message behind every challenge is rarely something is coming. It is far subtler. You are being trusted. Trust does not arrive as a gift. It comes as weight. The question is whether you can carry it without faltering. Awareness is the first step. To see clearly is to recognize the choices before you. Each thought, each action, each decision is a reflection of your readiness. When clarity grows, it naturally brings accountability. The world does not bend to the unprepared. Only those who understand their role in the unfolding moment can navigate it with composure. Responsibility is not punishment, it is recognition. The weight of trust requires patience, humility, and self-mastery. Ancient masters did not seek ease. They sought the capacity to hold their own integrity intact under pressure. They trained the body, disciplined the mind, and refined the spirit to carry what others could not. Preparation in this sense is not an external checklist. It is an internal posture. It is the conscious decision to accept responsibility willingly, not grudgingly. It is understanding that readiness is less about predicting outcomes and more about embodying capability. Those who avoid this weight are often the ones surprised by life's demands. Those who embrace it move steadily, even when circumstances shift unpredictably. Strength is not measured by what is gained, but by what can be held without breaking. In every moment the message returns. Clarity demands accountability. Awareness demands action. Responsibility is not given, it is reclaimed quietly by those willing to meet it. Every transformation begins in silence. Before anything new can take root, something old must make way. Shaolin wisdom teaches that the self is not a fixed vessel. It is a cup, constantly emptied and refilled through practice. Clinging to old habits, comforting excuses, or familiar identities blocks growth. The mind cannot expand while weighed down by what no longer serves it. The body cannot respond freely while tethered to patterns of the past. Release is rarely easy. It asks for courage more than strength. It demands noticing what has been tolerated silently, what has been repeated unconsciously, what has been defended without purpose. To let go is not to forget or deny, but to recognize limitation and step beyond it. This is the threshold, the point where the old self must surrender so the new self can emerge. Ancient masters did not seek change for the sake of novelty. They sought clarity, precision, and alignment with truth. Every day of training, every moment of stillness was an opportunity to shed something unnecessary. Fatigue revealed attachment. Repetition revealed comfort zones. Breath revealed tension. Awareness guided the letting go. Emptying the cup is not loss. It is preparation. Only when the mind and body are uncluttered can focus sharpen. Only when the ego relaxes can wisdom enter. Only when habitual patterns dissolve can action become natural and decisive. Transformation is never abrupt. It is a careful pruning, a patient release, a quiet surrender. Those who fear release resist the threshold and stumble when change inevitably arrives. Those who accept it move forward with ease, carrying only what strengthens them. To prepare fully is to step lightly into the unknown, holding nothing unnecessary. In this emptiness lies readiness, and in readiness lies the power to meet life as it truly is. Readiness is not something postponed for the future. It is a state cultivated in every breath, every movement, every choice. In Shaolin practice, preparation is not anxiety about what may come. It is the discipline of presence. The warrior does not wait for challenges to arrive. The warrior embodies readiness in each action, each moment of awareness. Life itself becomes the training ground, and each day an opportunity to refine skill, focus, and clarity. Eating is not merely nourishment, it is practice. Awareness at the table teaches restraint, patience, and gratitude. Each bite is observed, each taste acknowledged, each habit questioned. Speaking is not merely communication, it is intention. Words are chosen with care, carrying clarity and purpose, never wasted on distraction or ego. Movement becomes meditation. Actions are performed with full attention, without haste or excess. There is no regret for what is done, because every effort is aligned with discipline and understanding. This is readiness in motion. It is not preparation for life. It is life itself practiced fully, intentionally, and deliberately. Ancient masters understood that readiness cannot be summoned in crisis. It is earned in the ordinary, the unnoticed, the seemingly small acts of daily discipline. The body trained, the mind disciplined, the spirit attentive, these form a state that carries seamlessly into extraordinary moments. When life tests the prepared, there is no surprise, no panic. The response flows naturally as an extension of what has already been embodied. Calmness is not taught in calm moments. It is built in repetition, reflection, and deliberate attention to the present. Living as if you are already ready transforms ordinary days into practice. Each moment becomes a rehearsal for mastery. Each choice strengthens the capacity to meet reality without resistance. In this way, readiness is not a goal. It is the rhythm of a life lived with clarity, control, and intention. Every moment of preparation, every act of discipline, and every choice made with awareness leads to a calm readiness that no circumstance can shake. The teaching does not end on a single date or in a single moment. It begins there quietly inside you. True mastery is not a phase or a goal to be reached. It is a way of life, built in repetition, reflection, and steady practice. Those who walk this path do not fear change. They embrace it, understanding that transformation is not something to survive, but something to embody. They meet life with clarity, patience, and intention, allowing each challenge to refine them rather than disturb them. Take these lessons into your own life. Observe your thoughts, strengthen your habits, and act with purpose in every small choice. Let stillness, discipline, and awareness guide your daily rhythm. Step lightly into each day, knowing that preparation is ongoing and readiness is cultivated, not waited for. May your journey be calm, deliberate, and unshakable. If this message resonates with you, join our community of seekers and practitioners. Subscribe to Shaolin Divine Flow and continue walking the path of inner mastery with us. Your practice, like life itself, is a reflection of the quiet strength you cultivate each day.